Well, hello there. Welcome to another quick unedited Minecraft video. In this episode, I'm not going to actually have any tutorials or anything. I just want to talk about the 1.11 update log, change log, that's the right word. The change log for 1.11's newest update. Now, this update doesn't actually come out until Wednesday. That's when the first snapshot of 1.11 comes out. And then shortly after that, they're planning on releasing the full version of 1.11. I'm assuming once they get the bugs all worked out from the next snapshot. But they've announced at Minecon all the new features of 1.11 that haven't been added to the existing snapshots. Now, The existing snapshots have been mostly bug fixes and a couple of small features. Some of that are very useful and others that are just interesting or whatever. Mostly bug fixes. All of the major features were introduced earlier today at Minecon. Now, I was hoping to be able to have a nice polished edited video, with little cuts to their presentation, but you guys just know editing is time consuming and time is something I don't have. So I still want to talk about them, though. And when the first snapshot comes out on Wednesday, hopefully I'll be able to record a quick video of me playing around with the new features and showing my reaction to actually having them available. But right now I'm just going to talk about what they've added. So, what did they add? The first thing, at least the first thing that's most important to me, are shulker boxes. Now, in Minecraft 1.9, shulkers were added. They don't really do much. I mean, they're a nice little enemy, they hurt you, they levitate you, but they don't drop anything and they can't be farmed. So, for people like me who are all about automating stuff and farming stuff, they're kind of useless. They're just a nuisance. In 1.11, they will finally have a use, and it is an amazing use. Hold on. Wait, wrong button? Yes. There. It is an amazing use. So the use is that shulkers will now drop their shells, and combining 2 shulker shells with a chest gives you a shulker box. I don't know if that's going to be the final name, or if they're going to come up with a new name for it. I guess shulker box is fine, even if it's a little plain. But a shulker box is like a chest. You can right-click it to access it, and it has 27 slots like a chest. But it has a few unique properties. First of all, it looks completely different. It looks like a shulker, and when you right-click it to open it, the top spins off, like when the shulkers open up their heads. Yeah, so it looks really cool. But more importantly, when you break a chest, it drops all the items. But when you break a shulker box, it doesn't. The shulker box will drop itself and keep all the items inside it. So you can carry around a full chest's worth of items in a single inventory slot. It's basically Mojang's answer to backpacks, which have been in mods for a long time and which many people have wanted in vanilla. Yeah, it's like a backpack, except themed in a way that fits vanilla and matches with shulkers, with the end themes. And because it requires these shulker shells, it actually makes it almost an endgame item. So you have to get to the end and explore the end islands and do all that fun stuff before you can actually get it. So you can expand your inventory, but only after you get to the end islands. Another cool thing about them is that while they break, they'll break with your hand, by the way. You don't need any tools to break them, which is pretty cool, because that means you can really just pick them up whenever. But while they break and keep all of their items, they will also break if a piston hits them. So if a piston tries to push one, it will just break into an item form, but it will keep all of its contents. So you can automate sort of like moving them around, because you can just break one, drop it into a hopper, and then have it shuffled off to wherever you need it. But then you might say, okay, fine, I can break it and it can go into a hopper, but then it's an item form, and I need it to be a block form to open it up and access the contents. Turns out, Shulker boxes can be put into dispensers, and when you power the dispenser with redstone, it will just place the block. We don't have block placers in vanilla Minecraft because Mojang has always said that it's sort of against their policy. They feel like it's too automated and something should be left to the user. But with shulker boxes, dispensers will place them down on the ground. So you can literally have a piston break a shulker box, which will keep its contents, will fall into a hopper, be transported wherever you need it, be placed into a dispenser, and then placed onto the ground. You can have chests move wherever you want them automatically without minecart chest shenanigans. It's out. I love the idea, and especially for map making, being able to give people what are essentially like supply chests that they can just grab the whole supply chest and take it with them, or, you know, dispense floors, because these are full blocks. So you can dispense floors, which is not something you could do without command blocks ever before. The closest thing you could do was dispense pumpkins, but even that, you had to trick the game into thinking it was making a snowman, and so it was not flexible. These will place the blocks anywhere on any ground. So you can literally just have floors dispensed at will without any command blocks, which is a whole other use for these things. And the fact that they can keep their contents is amazing. It's stuff that you could do before with command blocks, but now you can do it entirely in survival, which is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love everything about them. If you've ever played the thermal expansion mod, these are basically strong boxes, but inherently better, because a strong box starts out with only 18 slots, whereas these shulker boxes have the full 27 slots already. And strong boxes don't have that piston or dispenser behavior that lets you automate them. So I'm excited about these shulker boxes. But like I said, they are end game items. You have to go to the end and explore the end islands and find some shulkers, which are not farmable still. So that's the thing. So it's end game. But the end game has shifted. So in previous versions of Minecraft, up to the current one, the end game was basically get to the end, hence the name, right? You get to the end, destroy the end dragon, and then, so you have, like, I guess beginning game is when you start out and you're just in the overworld trying to survive. Mid game is when you get to the nether and start getting those stuffs. Be fighting the wither, and end game is when you get to the end and fight the end dragon, and then you can explore the end islands, and that's it. That's the end. Well, the end game has shifted because 1.11 is called the exploration update for a reason. They're trying to encourage people to explore, and so they've given you things to find. And one of those things is a haunted mansion. It's called a woodland mansion, not a haunted mansion, but it's basically a haunted mansion. These are structures that will spawn naturally in roofed forests and I think one other biome. They're very, very rare. Unless you're very lucky and you stumble upon one, the way you'll usually find them is by using treasure maps, which are a new thing that you get from villagers. So librarian villagers have a new profession, or a new career, I guess, called cartographers, i.e. map makers, and you can buy compasses and maps and stuff from them, and you can buy treasure maps. So one of the treasure maps is an ocean explorer's map. Basically, it points you to the nearest ocean monument, which is nice, especially if you're one of those people who really likes to make Elder Guardian farms, or I should say just Guardian farms. If you want to make Guardian farms, you need to know where the ocean monument is, so this will show you. But more importantly, the cartographers will also sell you Wood Explorer. I think it's Woodland Explorer maps, or Wood Explorer maps, something like that. And those will lead you to the haunted mansions. So the haunted mansions, or sorry, woodland mansions, I'm going to call them haunted mansions because they really, really are. So the haunted mansions are mansions. They are massive structures made possible by structure block magic. that are procedurally generated. So it's a massive house, but the rooms in the house and the hallways and everything are completely randomized for each structure. It's got 3 floors, and on the bottom couple of floors, it's nothing. There's nothing there. It's just dark, so you get natural spawns like zombies and skeletons and whatever. But on the top floor, and possibly the second floor as well, you get cultist rooms. Now again, they're not called cultists, they're called evokers, but I'm calling them cultists because they really are. So these are 3 new mobs that spawn only in these mansions, and this is where the new endgame is supposed to be, because it's really hard to find these places, and these things are supposed to be ridiculously hard to kill. So the description was that they are easier to deal with than the Wither. So that means obviously easier than the Ender Dragon, but still pretty difficult to deal with. And because they're so hard to find, they're considered the new endgame. So these cultists come in 3 forms. So you have the Evoker, which is basically a magic cultist, and they will attack you by summoning these like jaws or bear trap kind of things that pop up out of the ground and try to bite you. They just kind of pop up underneath you, bite you, and then fall back down. So kind of like spike traps, but like bear traps. Yeah, they're kind of weird, but they'll do that. So and that's something they summon at a range. So that's their ranged attack. Then you have I think they're called Vindicators? Yes, Vindicators, which are these villager-like things. You know, all of these cultists are like villagers. They're called illagers, because ill villagers, because Moye likes to make puns. But yeah, so the Vindicator is basically just a homicidal maniac with an axe. He's an axe murderer. He's literally an axe murderer. He will chase you with an axe and then attack you and try to kill you. I'm going to assume that out of the 3 new mobs, Vindicators are probably the easiest to deal with because it's literally just melee attack. But yeah. And if you kill them, occasionally they will drop their axe. So yay, free axes, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. And then the 3rd cultist mob actually comes from the evokers. I think that's what I said they were called. The wizard things. Wizard cultists. The evokers will summon these, like, they're called vexes. They're ghosts. They're literally ghosts. They look like one of these cultists, but with wings and translucent and white. They hold swords, and they fly and can go through blocks. So you cannot trap them. They will just go through every block and come after you. You can kill them normally with, you know, whatever normal weapons you have, but they fly at you and attack you with melee weapons and flight and go through blocks. So yeah, and the evokers will constantly summon these guys. So if you walk into one of the cultist rooms, or if you walk into one of these woodland haunted mansions and you like really tick these guys off, or, you know, just let them see you, you're going to be in so much trouble. Now, what's the point of these things, right? You kill the ghosts, you don't get anything. The vexes, sorry, you don't get anything. If you kill the vindicators, the axe murderers, you get an axe. Who cares, right? What's the point of fighting these guys? Well, the point is, if you kill the evoker, the little magical cultist, he will drop a totem of undying, which is a new item, and if you hold this in either hand, your main hand or your offhand, when you're about to die, the totem gets used. It has this really cool, like, spinning, almost Egyptian Ankh animation, that the totem, like, flies in your face, spins around a bit, and fades out, and it will save your life. So if you would have died, instead, you survive and get a few seconds of absorption and regeneration to keep you alive. So it's basically a second chance at life, as long as you're holding it in your hand when you're about to die. So, if you don't want to keep it held in your hand at all times, keep it on your hotbar, and then as soon as you think you're about to die, just switch to it, and you'll be fine. So it's really cool. It's a magical item, which is something we don't really have in Minecraft. We have potions and enchantments, but those have been kind of stagnant for a while. There hasn't been much in the way of magic. This is it. It's literally like blood magic. It's a cultist with magical powers creating a trinket that keeps you from dying. Yo. Just yo. So that's amazingness. That's amazingness. And so unless I'm forgetting something, there's only one more. Oh, I am forgetting something. There are two more additions to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about the silly one. Llamas. That's right, you heard me. Llamas. If anybody has ever watched Jimmy Neutron, then you know that Carl would love this. And apparently there's a reference to Carl and llamas and hats, some video that I've never watched. Go ahead, meme away in the comments. But basically, llamas are a new mob, obviously, a new animal. I don't know where they're actually supposed to naturally spawn, but they do spawn. And you can ride them like horses. You can put chests on them like donkeys. And if they have one slot in their inventory that is special, in addition to their normal chested inventory, and you can put a carpet in that slot. And whatever kind of carpet you put in that slot, that changes the color of the carpet that you're riding on. So instead of a saddle, you put a carpet on their backs and you ride on that. So whatever color carpet you put on actually changes the color that's rendered on a llama, which is pretty cool. And it's good on multiplayer because then you can just be like, hey, the blue llama is mine. Stuff like that. The llamas do not get along with wolves. Wolves and llamas kind of really don't like each other. And llamas will attack wolves by spitting at them. Literally. Because in real life, llamas are known for spitting, so in Minecraft, llamas shall be known for spitting. They have this spit attack that shoots spit particles, and it hurts whatever it hits, and they'll just spit at wolves. I don't know if they'll spit at the player, it didn't look like it. Looks like they'll only spit at wolves. And obviously they can miss and hit a player, but yeah. So that's a thing. And then if you put a llama on a leash and you start leading it around, llamas around it will follow it in a line. They'll try to make a single file line behind it. So if you put a bunch of chests on a bunch of llamas and just lead one, all the others will follow it and take all of your items with them. So that's pretty cool. I think that's all there is to say about llamas. Oh, and baby llamas are adorable. But yeah, that's all there is to say about llamas. So the last thing to talk about is curses. Now remember, this is the exploration update. They want you to explore, and in order to convince people to explore more, they've added more treasure enchantments. Now, in 1.9, treasure enchantments first came out with Mending and Frostwalker, and those are ones that you can only get from villager trading and from fishing and from finding natural loot chests. You can't get them from an enchantment table. So now there are new enchantments, but they're called curse enchantments, or curses. And the reason for that is because they're cursed. They're negative enchantments. So for a while now, we've had positive and negative potion effects, positive and negative status effects, but enchantments have always been good. Even the worst enchantments are some sort of benefit, even if they kind of suck, right? The worst part of an enchantment is that you have to pay for them, but they don't ever do anything bad. Well, now curses exist, and they do bad things. You can't get them from an enchantment table. They're found naturally on items that you find in loot, and I would assume you could probably get them from villager trading, though they weren't mentioned, so maybe not. But they're definitely found in dungeon loot. And they do negative things on items to make you kind of second guess it. Like, oh, hey, this is a great sword. I want this sword, but it also has a curse on it, so do I use it or do I not? Do I use it? Do I not? They did mention 2 specific curses. I don't know if there's going to be more by the time 111 gets a full release, or if there's only these 2 for now. But the 2 curses that exist are the Curse of Binding and the Curse of Vanishing. So that seems to be the template for these, is Curse of Blanking. Curse of Vanishing basically means you don't ever want to die when you have it. So when you die normally, you drop all your items, and then when the items are loaded for 5 minutes, they'll despawn. Which means you have 5 minutes within loaded chunks, or I should say, you have 5 minutes within the chunks in which you load those items to actually get your items back. So let's say I die here, and I spawn 20 chunks that way, right? Then my items won't despawn until I get close enough, and then they'll still take an extra 5 minutes, so usually you don't have to worry about losing your items. If an item has the Curse of Vanishing on it, then when you die, it goes away. It doesn't drop, you don't keep it, it just vanishes, and it's gone. So you can have a great, amazing sword, and you put all the enchantments you love on it, and then you die, and it's gone forever. It's like it fell in lava. So yeah, so there's that. And the other curse that they mentioned was Curse of Binding. So I'm not sure how Curse of Binding works with things that are not armor. But the way they showed it was with, I think, a helmet. So if you have armor with Curse of Binding on it, once you equip it, you can't take it off. You literally cannot take it off your body. You can't move it, you can't drop it, you can't do anything. It's stuck on you forever until it breaks or you die. If you die, it'll drop normally. If it breaks normally, but otherwise you can't move it or take it off or do anything. So that's pretty cool. Again, they only showed it with armor, so I'm not sure how it works with stuff other than armor. Maybe it doesn't do anything, or maybe if you put it in your hand, you can't move it, which would be really, really fun to mess with. I don't know. Maybe it only works with armor, though. But yeah, so that's a thing. I think those curses will be very useful for map makers, especially if there's more than just those 2, but even just with those 2. Like, you can put Curse of Binding on unbreakable armor, and your players will be forced to wear whatever armor you give them and not be able to switch out or take it off or anything. So that's good. Like, the only way we could do that now is detect if they don't have it on and then replace it, but that just duplicates the item. There's no real way to force them to wear armor. Now there is. So that could be useful for map making. Curse of Vanishing could be useful as well, so that people can't get their their items back if they die in your map. You could just put it on all their items, and then every time they die, they lose everything. I mean, you could just clear their inventory when they die, so I guess that one's not so useful, but there are creative ways to use these curses in map making. And that's all, I think. I don't think I missed anything. So, basically, I'm excited for this update. The llamas are okay, they're silly, they're fun. The cultists are awesome. But I'm a functionalist, a creative mode maker, a map maker. So when I think in terms of map making, those shulker boxes and those curses are 2 of the most exciting things I've ever seen, and I really hope that there are more than just those 2 curses as time goes on. I assume there will be eventually. I just don't know if it's going to be in 111, or maybe I have to wait till 112 before they add more curses. But even the ones we have can be very useful. And the shulker box blows my mind. I can think of so many interesting uses for shulker boxes. I mean, the fact that you can dispense them as solid blocks, and then you can break them with pistons, immediately introduces amazing automation opportunities. But then being able to do that and have an inventory that you don't lose when it breaks, that's amazing. It's lovely. It's lovely, 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 lovely. Like I can already see how it could be used as a gravestone in a map. Because you could have it just sort of spawn when the player dies, and then put a hopper above it, teleport all the items into the hopper, and then once the hopper is clear, get rid of the hopper, and now you'll have an inventory that's got all of your stuff, which you could do with like chests. Actually, yeah, maybe ignore what I just said. That's not a good use for it. You know, I'm just sort of brainstorming here, and it is late at night as usual. But yeah, there are many, many uses for the shulker box. I can't wait to see what people come up with. I can't wait to see what I can come up with. I can't wait to play with them. And just imagine Curse of Vanishing on a shulker box. I wonder if it keeps the curses when you place them. Probably not. Anyway, so that's my reaction to the Minecraft 1.11 changelog announcement. Like I said, when it comes out on Wednesday, I will try to make a video, sort of my reaction after getting to play with them for a bit. But for now, that's all. So just keep updating, keep boxing your shulkers, keep redstoning.